Welcome to the Sweat Elite podcast, or welcome back if you're one of our regular listeners. Matt Fox here with my colleague Luke Keogh. 6 days out from Chicago Marathon. Luke, that weather forecast app is changing every single day. We had a little conversation before we recorded about how yesterday it was perfect. Today it's a little bit warmer, but how are you feeling leading into Chicago with 6 days to go?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I hate coming onto the podcast and being negative ever. Um, but yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's like the least excited I've ever been for marathon. I can't put my finger on. I don't know if it's a combination of things, if it's like, I don't know. And I want to be excited for it. Like I really do, obviously. But yeah, just the summer in general in terms of training is obviously weighing on me. You know, it's just the most persistent summer that I've remembered. Training in, I mean.
Yeah.
It's just there's no breaks at all in the weather. There was like a break one day and I made the most of it. I got a 10K PB. Um, but barring that, there's just been no breaks and it's just weighing on me. And like we'll talk about in the shareholders club in the second part about specifics about that, workouts and things like that. Um, and then just yeah, just the weather in Chicago. Like I know most people will look at the weather right now. Well, I don't want to say right now because this hasn't been published, but right now is Monday, October 6th. And as of now, for most people it looks pretty decent. But for me, like I just don't like if it gets into the 60s, I'm just like, ugh, ugh. you know, I and I'm not saying like I need this, I need that, whatever. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna run my bollocks off. Like there's just no two ways about it. Like I'm gonna completely empty the tank when I go through the finish line, no matter if the weather changes 10 degrees plus or minus, even from today, I'm going to. Um, it's just about the excitement, it's just I'm having a hard time getting excited for it, but it is what it is. It's race week. I've done pretty much all I can in the training, I think. I don't think I could have done much more. I changed some things for the better, the double thresholds, a whole bunch of stuff that I really tried to work hard at. And so just hopefully it pays off now.
Mhm. So we'll go through all of that training information in terms of Luke's second last week of training and the taper plan on the Shareholders Club. So sometimes I don't mention this at the start of the podcast. I always do at the end of the podcast. This is a two-part podcast every single week. The first half is free on the main podcast feed, and the second half is for podcast supporters, where we go into the training more specifically of Luke and mine. And that is a paid supporters club. It's only $10 a month or $90 a year to support. But one of the additional perks, which I think a lot of people don't even know about that have signed up there, because I feel like it's been a little bit quiet, especially over the last few weeks. Whereas earlier in the year, there was a few times in the last couple of months, a few people asked questions. There's a Discord channel, which is just basically like a public forum, very easy to access, very easy to download on your phone, where you can ask Luke and I anything about anything we speak about, anything about marathon, anything about the half marathon, anything about running in general. And yeah, I think this is actually a good opportunity for Luke. You had someone in your DMs during the week that was blowing you up and asking all sorts of different questions. And you tried to, you recommended that it's probably a good place for them to join over there. But tell us a little bit about that story, because I found it interesting when they said they couldn't afford the shareholders club.
Yeah, like, and I think I've had this happen a couple times, and I think it's because like, I'm how would I put this? Yeah, like I don't want to like say, oh, I'm a really nice guy, but I'm not a dick, is basically what I'm trying to say. If someone reaches out to me and like asks me questions and I see it, like I'm going to do my best to like answer those questions. And I'm not an expert at any of this stuff, so I'm going to, preface all that and answer them, because they took the time to reach out to me and like I appreciate that. And so he did. And I think that's where it kind of got us where it was. I was actually kind of answering too many questions. And then I got to a stage where I asked him, and this has happened more than once, so I'm not picking on this guy at all. Because I understand it, is my point. And I was like, hey, and then I told him, I was like, hey, have you joined the shareholders club, this, that, and the other? I mentioned the price, and and this has again happened loads of times.
This
People
happens to
always
me all the
say,
time. Yeah.
yeah, they always say, oh, I just can't afford it right now. And I don't care if you've got Bill Gates money or you're living paycheck to paycheck. Like, if you have things like Spotify and Netflix and whatever else, which I guarantee you those people have, you can definitely afford a $90 a year thing. Because I can also guarantee you, and I'd be happy to sit down with those people, like to just be like, hey, what are you spending money on copies every day or every week, or you just right there, there's expenses, and I try and say it in as nice a way as possible. Just like, the end of the day, look, it's also a matter of fairness. There is a lot of people that support Sweatly that, we love, and they're over there in the Discord channel, in the Shareholders Club, supporting at nominal fees. And I feel like after I was answering so many questions, I kind of felt like it was just unfair then. It was a matter of
Mm.
fairness, it was unfair to the people that are supporting. And so I just said that. I was like, look, just jump over there, mate. And I swear to God, we'll answer all the questions. And then loads of other people will jump in there with you as well. And it'll like, it's literally a good Discord. It says it right there on the app. Um, and that, yeah, that was just one of a few. And it was, I thought it was interesting and a good place to talk about it in the podcast
Yeah.
for those.
$90 a year. If you do break it down, it ends up being $1.73 a week. And that includes the other podcast feed every single week, which is between 30 and 45 minutes. And you can ask us, so if you want to ask one question every week, you can, we'll answer it. And you'll have other people jump in and discuss. So yeah, I'm not going to push a hard sale here, but I have this happen all the time as well. And occasionally I do say to people, hey, you should sign up. And often they do. But I think the not affording it part, I mean, look, who knows? Maybe they are struggling financially. We don't know. We can't really speak to that. But at the end of the day, I think if you
Oh,
break it down and really get the most, think about how to get the most value out of it, it's pretty decent value. But anyway, Luke, you had another person send you a DM about a funny marathon result, completely unrelated to the Shareholders Club, that you forwarded to me. We found pretty funny. Truett Haynes. I'd only heard of him. I didn't know much about him, but you were having a bit of a laugh at his marathon on the weekend.
yeah, yeah. I just kind of tooted my own horn, said I'm not a dick, and now I'm going to come off like I'm a massive dick, and I don't care.
Before you
Yeah,
start, who is Truett Haynes?
right, 100%. Yeah. So again, a lot of people will know who he is, unfortunately. Um, he, so his dad is oh God, what's his dad's first name? His dad, he's known because of his dad mainly. His dad's kind of like friends with Joe Rogan. He's always on Joe Rogan. He runs a lot of
Cameron Haynes?
there you go.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You know of him, right? I'm sure.
I know Cameron Haynes. I didn't really know of Truett Haynes. I'd heard
Yeah,
his
that's
name
his
before, but
son.
I didn't. Yeah, but I definitely know who Cameron Haynes is. Yeah,
Yeah, Cameron Haynes. So you know Cameron
listen to.
Haynes.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of people inspirational, kind of in a similar way, not the same as Goggins and kind of that world, that realm, train hard, all that good stuff. Right? Cool. But his son is kind of getting himself a name because he runs marathons in jeans or something like that. And he's like massive as well, really, really built, has like some pull-up record and stuff like that, which is all impressive. Like, that's all great. Um, but when you that I have no issues with any of that. You want to run a marathon in jeans, and that's cool. What I have an issue with is he ran a half marathon not long ago and ran what on paper seems like a fast time. I want to say it was like 67 or 66 even, right? And didn't post anything about, I don't think he's on Strava. He always posts his stuff to his Instagram. And I do not follow him. I have no interest in following him, but people send it to me. I see it like all against my will. Um, and I already know. I was like, all right, let's look up this course and let's go straight to the elevation chart. And just the elevation chart for those on the YouTube just goes like a rocket downhill, just a billion feet downhill. So I saw that half marathon and I was like, all right,
So to give
that
you
does
context in numbers, at least by an AI overview, the St. George Marathon has an elevation loss of approximately, it says a range, which is a bit weird, 2,517 to 3,057 feet. So let's just go in the middle of that range. It's about 2,750 feet loss, which is around
Yeah,
about 830 meters loss. That is very, very downhill.
yeah. So that's the marathon. I haven't even got there yet. I was talking about he did this already with a half marathon.
Right.
That's what I was talking about, 66, 67. So then someone else, um, sorry, I don't have it in front of me. His name listens to the pod and he sent me this. Trude Haynes just ran that St. George's marathon that you just said, the 3,000 feet net downhill, just nothing but downhill, actually. It's not like Boston, where Boston's net downhill and there's aggressive uphills. If you look at the elevation chart, it's just straight downhill. And he sent that to me and he was like, interested again. I appreciate people reaching out. And so I engaged him same way, and a listener of the podcast. But I told him what I'm about to say now. It bothers me that he's going to post something like that, like an influencer, like a snake oil salesman, to be like, look at me, look how fast I am. And look at his Instagram. He never mentions at all anywhere the elevation chart, the course elevation, the net downhill, the roaring downhill. Mentions none of it. Just says, look how fast I am. Look at me, yay me. And that to me pisses me off to no end. Like, if you want to run it, run it. Nothing against people running courses like that, but be transparent. There's a lot. That guy that sent it to me, you could tell he didn't know how net downhill it was. And then he put his picture was like him in jeans. Again, kind of making it seem like I did another one in jeans, but then you look at the race pictures and he's in half tights,
Yeah.
Again, it all just smells like you're just a snake oil salesman, man, hiding shit from people just to look cool. And like, yeah, I don't love races like that, but if people want to race them, race them. Nothing against it. When you're being, you're hiding details like that, and that's when I have a problem. That's what bothers me. Um, and he's getting really popular in the running space, and people are following him, and all this, and just be transparent. And I wouldn't mind if it was the first time he did it, but like I said, it's not. It's the second time now. He did it with that half marathon, never mentioned the elevation. Did it now with the marathon, never mentioned the elevation. And and I was like, why doesn't he just run a normal course? And sure enough, he ran Boston when I did. So what did he run at St. George's? 225.
Hmm.
Boston, he ran like 238 or 239. How is that? Like, does anyone else see what's going on there? A 12-minute, is that 12, like 13 minutes? Sorry, can't do math. 13-minute difference in the space of however many months. Again, can't do math. Sorry.
6 months.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Is it because the course? Is he juiced up to his gills? Is it both? Is it like, just be transparent. That's all.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, rant over there.
So I'm trying to find his post on Instagram about his half marathon, but I can't. He's got a pre-race one. So you reckon he ran 67, and that was also just like the net loss was a similar percentage.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find it. Let me see. Oh, that's the sound of.
He's done a pre-race post.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sit here while we're doing the podcast, but I will find it. He is this. Oh, you know what? I think he's deleted it, honestly. Because I'm looking at a post here and it says 13.1 tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that.
But then there's nothing about the race result. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find it. But yeah, that's my only point. I just transparency, that's all. Just put it in there. You stop your watch in a race and you have to stretch. That's fine. But don't post your moving time. Post your elapsed time, Same in a workout and whatever, so just, I don't know.
Very interesting. Rant over. All right, let's get back to Chicago Marathon and talk a little bit about, well, it's taper week. So, of course, all the training info will be over on the other podcast. But What we did promise last week to speak a bit about is the nutrition and the shoe choice. So let's start with shoe choice.
Yeah.
What shoes are you going to race in this weekend?
Yeah. So, for those that know me a bit better than most, will know that I love the Alpha Fly, the Alpha Fly 1 and the Alpha Fly 3. The Alpha Fly 2 is the dumbest shoe ever made. Did you know that Eliud Kipchoge still runs in it?
Does he? I didn't know he ever
Yeah,
ran in the two.
he posted. So they made the two specifically for him. The one and the three was like they have him in mind, but like the two they made it specifically for him to break a world record. I remember. Um, and so yeah, it's, one of the lads, I think it was Matt Persick, posted a picture, or sent us, sorry, his picture. It was quite recent. Like he was ripping some repeats in the Alpha Flight 2. It's like, oh man, he's like the only
I
person on the planet that likes it.
I know one other person that likes the Alpha Flight too. It's a guy I used to coach from London who I still sometimes stay in touch with, Ben. Shout out if he's listening. He loves them, and I don't know anyone else that likes them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But sorry. So I love the Alpha 1, the Alpha 3. But getting the Alpha 1 has obviously become a lot trickier, a lot harder since it's been discontinued for so long. And I used to get it a lot on places like StockX and Goat and stuff. But lately, when I bought stuff from there, I think so they have to go through authenticators. I think they're getting through authenticators quite easily. I think they're like dupes now, you know?
Hmm.
They're not the real thing. They're like these kind of Chinese duplicates. Because when I get them, like a week later, like glue will start coming off parts of it and so it's like ugh, I don't want to buy a pair and then yeah, like mile five, the sole starts coming off, you know? So
Yeah.
I stuck with the Alpha Flight 3s, uh, like an all white pair. They look pretty sick. I've never bought the all white pair before. I never saw them. So yeah, it'll be the Alpha Flight 3s, the all white pair. Buzzing for that. They look really, really clean. Love the Alpha Flight 3. So yeah, that's the shoe choice.
Nice. Let's talk food. Let's talk nutrition. What are you planning to do this week in the carb load, the most fun period of time in the whole marathon training cycle? Are you going
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
2 day load, 1 day load, 3 day load? How many grams per day? If you're even thinking about that, I don't think people need to necessarily do that, but yeah, how are you viewing it?
yeah. I usually don't overthink carb load. Um, I'll get through the week like normal. Not gonna like carb deplete or anything, which I have in the past, which I think has been helpful. But I'm not gonna do anything like that, mainly because it's just so hot here still in Houston.
Mm,
So I don't want to mess around with that. Well, energy levels are kind of getting depleted already because of the heat. So all normal, and then probably Friday. I probably won't. Yeah, Friday. Then I'll just start carb loading, and I just like everything else. I go by feel. I don't measure grams. I don't none of that. I just have loads of drinks that are carb heavy. I'll have like lots of Gatorade and stuff like that, making sure that everything I'll have water obviously, but everything else will have carbs in it that I drink. So I'm constantly getting carbs that way, and that helps me a lot as well. I feel like that way I get carbs in, but it doesn't. The liquid carbs don't make me feel as heavy and as bloated. Um, so I like that, and then just constantly what works well for me is just like a lot of white bread, just lots of white bread, especially on the Friday. Lots of like these little like rolls, bread rolls, Hawaiian roll, stuff like that. um and just picking all day. Like I think you remember like me in Japan, like just all day just like picking at little bits, just kind of nonstop. I like picking at little bits like that. I like having like my carb chews, like the Cliff carb blocks and the Honey Stinger little carb chews, stuff like that. Just constantly, just little bits, so I don't feel too heavy, but it just constantly just a regular stream of carbs
mm.
going into the body. And then Saturday, more of the same, and then um, pizza's usually the go-to meal. and then I'm in the right place for it, Chicago. So I might get a deep dish.
Don't go
Uh,
deep dish. That'll make you feel so heavy the next day.
it might, but it might not. No, no. Maybe I won't go deep dish. Yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe that's that. Maybe that's extreme. You might be right. But it's usually pizza. I don't know why pizza. I know it sounds weird when I say it more because it's got like cheese and stuff. So you would think,
That's the
but
problem with deep
pizza,
dish. I feel like it's just completely
yeah,
loaded
yeah,
with
it's like
cheese and
literally a pie. Yeah,
yeah, it's like a cheese pie
yeah.
with a little bit of sauce.
Right, right, right. So maybe not that. But yeah, pizza usually sits well for me before the night before a race for the last meal. And then that's it. And then the morning of, if people are interested in that, the morning of,
Of
get
course.
up a few hours before, like normal. The race is at 7:35, I think. So I'd probably want to be getting up at like 4:30 or something, maybe.
3 hours
Um,
before.
yeah, I think so. I'll
Yeah, that's
figure
what I
that
normally
out
do.
closer, but something like that. And then as soon as I wake up, electrolytes, carb drink, water, um, and then just the same stuff, not changing anything, doing what I normally do. I've been smashing, I don't think I've said this actually on the podcast, on either podcast. I've been smashing flat Coke before workouts and long runs.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and I've loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do
I
it.
don't
What's the
drink
sugar?
soda. Yeah, don't drink soda at all, let alone Coke. Don't drink any soda. And that's the only time I'll have it lately. Because I've had a whole bunch of these small party-sized Coke cans from a party a while back, and they've just been sitting there. And then one long run ages ago, this is like a month, 2 months ago, I was just like, oh, let me try, like, let me like crack it tonight, let it go flat, and have it in the morning, just see what it's like. And you know, I had like an amazing long run the next day. So I was like, oh, that's it. It
Got
was
to
the
be the
Coke.
Coke. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's one of those things. But yeah, usually like Coke, Gatorade, like carb drinks, electrolytes. And then same again, just like white bread, usually like bread rolls, stuff like that. And then bring some carb chews there so I can like kind of, snack on them a little bit while I'm waiting in the corrals and whatnot. Um, and then probably take a gel just at the line. And that'll be it. Then go time.
What happens when the
And that's
gun goes off with the fueling? What are you thinking?
when the fueling, like during the race,
Yeah.
the goal for me is always, again, not strict about it. Again, always by feel. Because I hate to, I would never force. I did it actually. I did it one time and it backfired. I did it in London. I think if you remember, I was
Mm.
forcing gels down me and I had to stop and puke. And so never before and never again will I do that. I just go by feel. The goal is to have it. Um, I'll probably bring the in gels though, the char gels, which are pretty big. They have like, don't they have like 50 grams of carbs in them? Something like that.
40, 45.
Yeah, yeah, which is like a lot for a gel, right? But
Yeah.
it is quite big.
Yeah.
So I'll probably try and smash one of them or a caffeine, maybe a caffeine one actually, so not one of them. Maybe a caffeine smaller type gel like a SIS on the line. Then I'll probably bring two in gels in the race and start taking it at around 6K and then try and finish that off throughout the next few K,
Hmm.
then get through it and then go again, you know, closer to mile 8 or 9 and then mile 8 or 9 and then finish that off through halfway and then rely on the more 10 gels on the course,
Yep.
which come up later. And I think I should be fine. And then if it is hot, like hot for me, then just, grab water when I feel like it, grab Gatorade if and when I feel like it, and I'll be fine. That'll be
Mm.
fine for me.
Okay. So it sounds like you're not going in with a specific fuel plan at all, which you did in London, but that didn't work out for you. So yeah, but you sound like you're probably taking in around about 60 to 80 grams an hour, as in that's what that roughly translates, at least the first hour. Yeah,
If that, yeah.
yeah.
And
Okay.
I know it goes against science, and I would never recommend anyone else to do what I'm saying and be so blasé about it. I would never, but it works for me. When I'm chill about my fuel and I'm don't overthink it and I just take it, when I feel like it, and yeah, just don't overthink it. For me, that works.
Hmm.
Um, could it work better? Could I have a better race if I was a bit more strategic with it? Probably, but it's just one of those things where I just don't want to overthink it. There's so much going on with a race that I just don't want to be one of those people that freaks out. Like if I drop a gel, if I don't take a gel at a certain time, one of those things where I'll be all right.
Hmm. Before we move on to other questions, I want to talk a little bit more about what we spoke about in the very beginning, the weather. And because a lot of people listening to this, I'm sure, are running Chicago Marathon as well. And there'll be lots of mixed feelings about the forecast and this and that. But I just want to say that I really struggle in the heat. This is I don't know how to say this without tooting my own horn, but I really have a very high sweat rate. I don't like running in the heat at all. But
I
at the
know.
moment, yeah, I've said that enough on podcast. I'm sure people listening for a while would know that. But last year, the forecast that it is right now is exactly what it was last year. It started at around 14 degrees Celsius and got up to around 16, 17 degrees Celsius, which is around about the real feel was slightly lower than that. It was around 12 and it got up to about 15. So in Fahrenheit, basically it started around 55 and got up to around 62, 63. Humidity was like 89% at the start, finished off at about 80%. And I just did my absolute best in the few days leading up to it to just completely ignore it. I just went, it is what it is. It will be what it will be. I'm shooting for sub 220 anyway. And I ended up running a PB that day. And yes, it was a little bit warm towards the end. I started to feel it, but I just did my absolute best to completely. I took notice of it, but I just went, I'm just not going to let that worry me. I am just going to charge right through this. And I think for someone like you that is clearly in PB shape, when I say you, Luke, clearly in PB shape due to, looking at the data and training, you've been training in conditions far, far warmer than this. I think that you've still got a fantastic opportunity to run a huge PB. Yeah, it might not be absolutely perfect conditions, and it might be 1 to 2 minutes slower than what you could be capable of running, but I still think that you've got a really good shot of running a really good time. And anyone that's been training in the US and, in much warmer conditions, coming down 5, 10 degrees Celsius or, 10, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, it's going to make a big difference compared to what you're training in. And I said this to you in a text earlier in the week. You've been doing all of your marathon effort workouts all discussed over on the other podcast in detail. You've been doing them all at like 525, 526 per mile pace, which is like 221, 222 marathon pace. You did 10 miles straight at that. So think about how much easier that will feel coming down to starting at 52, ending at 62, when you were doing that in like starting at 75 and ending at 85.
No,
Mm.
yeah, no, I appreciate all that, and you're right. Look, at the end of the day, I know you're right, and I know if the roles are reversed, like literally roles are reversed, I'd be giving you the exact same advice. I know it's good advice, and I know you're right, but it's still like, when it's like it's happening to you, and until it's just like, oh, you just can't. It's like you can't trust it or something. You know what I mean? It's like everything you're saying is just so dead on, so right, and I know it, but it's just like, oh, I can't trust it unless it happens.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say all that to say that while it's bothering me in the sense that I'm not getting super excited about it, it's not changing my mindset. Like I said, I'm not just like looking at the weather or being beat up by my weather and thinking like, that's it. Like, what's the point? Not even close to that. Like, I'm going to do everything that I just said, like I normally do for a PB effort, you know, in the preparations, and then get after it and just go full welly like I normally do, like, and go for a PB, a big PB. Like, I'm gonna go for it, no doubt about it. And just hope that yeah, the weather does just feel so much better that I maintain it and get that PB. Like that's the goal for sure. But all that to say, it's just, yeah, I totally appreciate what you're saying. You're 100% right. But it's just, for some reason, it doesn't make me feel like, oh, you're so right. I feel so much better about it because of me. That's just how I am, you know? It's just, I will feel this way until it happens, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I remember this time vividly last year. The forecast was swinging every day. It was going from
Yeah,
warm
I
to
remember.
cold to, yeah. I said this last week or the week before, but I think 4 or 5 days out, it dropped right down to like mid 40s, low 40s, which is like 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. And I was like, this is perfect. And it came right back up. And then I just went, no, I'm in PB shape. I know I am. I
Right.
know it's not going to be crazy hot. I know I've done a lot of long runs in warmer weather than this because I trained through the summer in Chicago. I just went, I am just not worrying about that anymore. I just decided not to worry about it. I'm turning out to the line. I'm going for 2:19:30. I don't care what the weather is anymore. And I feel like just that steadfast like decision, probably 2 days before the race of just maybe three, where I was just like, I'm going for that. It doesn't matter. There's just no what worrying at this point is only going to hurt me. It's just not going to help me at all. And I think that's what you've got to try and do. And when I say you, I mean anyone listening that's running Chicago. Mm.
You're dead right. You're dead right. Yeah, and there's really nothing else to add to that. Like you're 100% nail on the head with that. I agree.
Mm. And there's still 6 days to go, so that might change a lot. It might come right down. It might get warmer. We'll see.
I know.
All right. Before we move over to the other podcast, I thought I would answer a few questions that have come in through the week. We've got 5 excellent questions that have come through from your man, Brandon Seagraves, who you've been doing a little bit of training with. He seems like a legend.
Yeah, he's gas. He's brilliant. He just shout out to him and a few of the lads that Mark and Chris. They just ran a race that I really liked. I would have loved to have raced it, but it was yesterday, so a week before Chicago, 10-mile race. Obviously, I'm not going to do that.
You were out there
That
on the
was
bike.
that was me, yeah, out there on the bike supporting them. That was his first, because he's fresh out of college, like I said, his first race like that, like long distance. And he did really well, stayed patient, just started picking people off, came fourth. Man, it was so hot, such a crappy day, and he's probably the only person on the course that negative splitted, which is amazing for him. Did really well. Almost caught third. It was so funny though. I was on the bike with him, helping him out a bit and just chatting to him and, getting videos and whatever. I remember at mile two, he was like, he looked at me and he was like, man, this is a long race. I was like, oh shit, no, don't be saying that at mile two. And I kind of panicked when he said that. I kept it. I was like, yeah, man, it's like so much race to go. It's so fun. I was like, fuck, what do I say to that? But he did great. He raced really well. So yeah, wanted to give him a little shout out there.
After last week's podcast, I shared the podcast and he said, I've got 5 questions that I've been thinking about for a while for the Sweat Elite podcast. He probably didn't expect me to say all these 5, but here you go. These are all sort of a bit of a joke. So let's start with the first one. With all this heat training Luke does, how fast could Luke, the trial lawyer, run a 5K in his nicest trial suit?
If the weather, that's so stupid. If the weather, if the weather was good, I have a suit. That's
Depends
kind
so
of
much
like,
on depends so much on the shoes. Like when people
yeah,
talk about the marathons in the records in business suits, like the first question I ask is was he wearing business, attire the whole way, or was he wearing super shoes? So let's
exactly.
assume that you are wearing black shoes, work.
Oh, was that the? Oh, okay. Well, then I'm completely changing. My assumption was it's like all those other lads. You're still wearing like carbon plated,
Okay,
massive,
we'll do both then.
massive stack height alpha flies with a suit that I have back there that's actually quite stretchy and quite nice. I still reckon I could run a like close to my current PB, like on
You
a good
reckon?
weather day. Train. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, if I had good shoes on, like alpha flies, I don't think it would. I don't think it would. Like I'm not worrying about overheating. If it was like a 40 degree, 30-degree day, like no wind, and I'm on the track and I have lads pacing me, 100% I could get, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, let's put this theory to the test. But if you put me in shoes, like I have no qualms about saying this. If you put me in trainers with a speed suit on, let alone a suit, I'm gonna fall apart in any race. I rely so heavily on super shoes for any and all of my performances and my workouts. So if you put me in business shoes, I'd be lucky to break 20 minutes, I'd say.
Okay.
I'd fall apart.
I was going to say sub 16 for the suit with Alpha Flies and sub 19 for the suit with business shoes.
You might be right. That's good. Yeah, you might be right.
Question 2. Could prime Matt Fox beat prime Usain Bolt in an 800 meters? That is a good
Oh,
question.
that's actually a
So,
good question. That's not a joke
yeah.
question.
Well, look, pretty simple. I ran 148. Could Usain Bolt have broken 148 for 800 at his best? I don't think he could have.
What? So this is a genuine question because of this is my ignorance about the translation from
Mm.
sprinters to that mid distance. Like, walk me through your process there. Like, why?
So, yeah, I mean, there's 100-meter, 200-meter runners that can stretch up to 400 and hold on for dear life and run a fast time. Now, Bolt, I believe, did run a 44-second 400, I think, but it's a completely different ball game when you step up to 800 meters. It becomes, 50% or 45% aerobic for most people around 150 to 2 minutes. There's 400-meter runners that are pretty good at 200 and 100, but they just do a whole lot of aerobic or high intensity anaerobic work with aerobic work that can run a good 800s. It's very difficult to say for someone like Bolt. You could assume that if he can run 44 for 800, he should be able to run 54 twice, which is 800, which is 148, which is what I ran quite a few times. It's so difficult to say. I'm going to say that he would not have broken 148, and I only say that because he was a very big guy. I mean, most sprinters, running under 10 are. I don't think he could have, but it's so hard to tell. It's a really good question.
Yeah, that's good.
I just remember reading a little bit about his training. I don't think he ever ran more than you know, a kilometer. Like, he warmed up for like 5 minutes and then just did like
Yeah,
a lot of like
just straight
120s with
sprinters.
long rests. He didn't do any 30 or 40-minute runs, I don't think. He never did any sort of mildly, close to aerobic work. So I have a feeling he would have struggled quite a bit. But then if you think about it through the lens of what I said before, he's run 44. Could he do 54 twice? Seems like he probably could, but good question. I have no idea, but I'm going to say that he would not have broken 148. So I'm going to say that I would have beaten Usain Bolt at 800.
I
The
like
question
it.
3, who is a pro that Luke would love to scalp in Chicago?
A pro?
Yep.
Oh God, I wish I'd seen that one. I would have looked up the list. I don't know really the list. Um, oh, you know what? No, I take it back. What's his name? Gold medalist in the 1500
Oh, Matt Centrowitz?
Androids.
Yeah, okay.
What did he run in Chicago last year?
I'm going to say 226 or 227.
No, I think it was faster than that.
What was that? Let's have a look. Matt
Yeah, have a
Centrowitz.
look. Have a look. I
So
know he's running.
why do you say Matt Centrowitz?
I don't know. It's just because his time was closer. I'm just
Oh,
trying to be
you're right.
realistic.
You're right. He ran 224.36, which is
Yeah,
15
yeah,
seconds
that's
ahead of
right.
your personal best.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. That's what I thought, right? So obviously, I assume he's going to be in better shape. How much better shape? I don't know. So that would be for the men, because everything else would just be unrealistic, right? And I don't want to just say stupid stuff like, "Oh, Conor Mans." Um, and then the women, uh, Dakota, uh, I guess her last name now is Poppin. Don't know how to pronounce.
Used to
What was
be
her last
Dakota
name
Lind.
before?
Dakota
Yeah,
Lindworm recently married.
right. Dakota Lindworm, right? So she's 224 runner, but that's from I think we looked up 2023, and everything that I've seen her workouts, it looks like she's going for that American record, I think, the 218 whatever, which is Sisson's current record.
Wow.
Um, it looks like she's going for that, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm looking at her workouts correctly. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That'd be awesome if she goes and gets it. But in terms of like catching her, yeah, that'd be awesome to catch her.
Yeah, I'm looking at her Strava now. Workout from 26th of September, 4 by 2 miles, 512, 505, 507, 505, 503, 506, 504, 509. Yeah, that's good going. That was just a couple of
Right,
weeks ago. Yeah.
right. And there's
And
more. There's more than that.
she ran her half marathon PB just recently as well, right?
In I think it was Northern Ireland in August in what looked like pretty warm weather. I think it was high 60s as well, and 67 mid or 67 high, I think she ran.
67.52. Yeah, in very warm weather and pretty humid. There you go. Stick with Dakota Poffin. Sorry if we're saying Poppahan, I believe. We might be saying the last name correctly. I actually ran next to her at Chicago Marathon 2023 for a little while. I remember her when her name was Dakota Lindworm, when she ran her PB. So that'd be a good scalp. All right, next question. Would you rather win a marathon major, all the pros dropped out due to horrible conditions, or qualify for the Olympic trials?
Oh, he's like asking about like the Des Linden thing, right? Boston. Um, oh, that's a good question too. Winning a major, I think would be
Yeah, for
cool.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
no
I think
question.
winning a major.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like because no matter what happens, like if the weather's bad, because you know what, that would actually even be way cooler, way cooler. Forget about the other part of the question. The fact that you just use everyone else is like, oh, it's too cold or it's too rainy. I don't want, and you're just like, nah, fuck that. Like I'm getting after it. And then you win the thing. That's like way cooler still,
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
didn't even drop. Yeah. So, oh yeah, definitely that.
for sure. No question. It reminds me of Yuki Koichi when he won Boston in 2016 or
Same
17 or
year.
18. Yeah.
Yeah, same year.
He was seeded wouldn't even be in the top 10. Yet he won due to poor weather. He actually does say here, due to horrible conditions. But people just viewed him as being the toughest guy on the course, I think, at the end of the day. Like he just gritted it out. Everyone else fell out and dropped off, and he ended up winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the commentary team from that race. Um, it was like the first few miles when it's roaring downhill, and he was just almost a full mile ahead of everyone. It was crazy. And the commentator was like, "Oh, this is a crazy strategy by Yuki. He's gonna feel, I think his exact words were, he's gonna feel this piano on his back in the later miles. I always remember that. And then that commentator just ate his words. He was just like, nah, I'm just gonna keep gapping these people and gapping them and gapping them. Yeah, so impressive.
2018 Chicago, Boston Marathon, that was. All right, final question. What half marathon shape could you get Joey Chestnut in with 18 months of training?
I don't even know who Joey Chestnut is. Who is that?
So I looked this up. I'd heard of his name before, but I didn't actually know who he was specifically. I just heard him mentioned on podcasts and stuff like that. Joey Chestnut is the one of the I'm going to get his official title. He's like an eating he
Oh,
competes in eating like
is he the hot dog guy?
yeah.
Okay,
World's
sorry.
world's number one competitive eater.
Oh, American listeners are gonna hate me for not knowing who he was off the bat. Yeah, he's like an American hero. I know who he is now. Um, he isn't he the guy, like I don't have a picture in front of me. Doesn't he look like in pretty good shape
He's
for
not that
a
big. Yeah.
yeah,
Looking at his
like he
photos and
looks
videos
like
here, he's really not that big at all. He's just kind of like a regular looking dude.
right. So that
Yeah.
tells me he's got crazy genetics.
Mm.
So that means for running, you know, if you and he's got the mindset of a champion too, clearly.
He can push hard.
And yeah, man, you would get him. I reckon, you know, if you take that mindset and those genetics and that stomach for carb loading
He
and
can
for fueling on course, man, the more I say things about it and the more I think about it, I reckon you could get him like an OTQ and a half, like sub 63. I reckon you, I reckon you could get him.
I think that's a little bit optimistic, given he hasn't. It doesn't look like, at least on his Instagram, he's run for a while, if at all. I'm going to say sub 140. This is impossible to tell. We have no idea how much running he's
It's a
done. We have no
big
idea.
range. He'll fall somewhere in between that range, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, no idea. All right, there were a few more questions here, but we have gone over the time that we wanted to record for today. We try and stick to around 45 minutes for these episodes. So huge thank you to everyone who is signed up to the Shareholders Club, who will access the next podcast as we talk about Luke's second last week leading into Chicago Marathon and what is coming up in the taper week. I'll talk a little bit about my last week of training. I've actually sustained a little injury. I'm not actually sure what it is at this stage. It's got something to do. I've moved apartments over the last few days and I've done something to my back. I've actually got an MRI, hopefully today, got a doctor's appointment today. So we'll talk a bit about that. I had a decent week in training up until that happened. But we'll talk all about those things over on the podcast. Thank you for listening in. To join us on the other podcast, you can head to the link in the description of this podcast. It's sweatelite.co/shareholders. Once again, you do get the other podcast feed and you get to join our Discord channel where you can ask questions about anything to do with running. And it's only, to frame it differently, to $90 a year, which sounds expensive. It's only $1.70 a week. So massive thank you to everyone that joins us over there. We will speak to you all next week on this podcast, and hopefully you can join us on the other podcast feed.